Hello everyone, Peter here. I have a very quick and very exciting announcement to share with you. Adventures in Theater History Philadelphia is now a book. As I speak, copies of this book are rolling off the presses and it will be officially available in the UK only as of September 15th, but the US release date is November 30th, 2024. If you like this podcast, then you will love this book. And you can buy it now. There are easy links to pre-order the book on Amazon.com. Just open the episode notes on your phone or computer and you'll see a little hypertext saying, "Go here." Click on it and you'll go right there to Amazon. Or right below that, there's another "Go here," which will take you directly to the website of the publisher, Brookline Books. In fact, you want to know a secret? The good folks at Brookline Books tell me that I am authorized to tell you that if you use the code 25PESC at checkout on the Brookline Books order form, you will save 25% off the price of the book. That's 25PESC. This offer is only available until November 30th. Get it now while you can. All right, here's our show for today. Welcome to Adventures in Theater History, where we bring you the best stories about the deep and fascinating history of theater in the city of Philadelphia. I'm your host, Peter Schmetz, and I'm so happy and honored to inaugurate this first episode of Season 4 of the podcast. In fact, to suit the occasion, we've been doing a little redecorating and revamping here in our multi-story studios high atop the Tower of Theater History, and so here you go, direct from the digital pen of Christopher Mark Colucci, the house composer and conductor of the talented Adventures in Theater History House Band. For the first time ever in the podcasting universe, our brand new Season 4 theme music. Take it away, boys! Thank you, Chris. As you good people out there listening to us can tell, just from that music, Season 4 is going to be very funky and hip and modern, which is quite fitting because in Season 4, we here at the podcast propose to cover the last 60 years or so of Philadelphia theater, basically the modern era when the nonprofit theater movement came to the region and many dozens of theater companies and ensembles and actors and artists began to blossom all over the metropolitan area. Now, this will take us from the mid-1960s up to, well, the present day. As far as I know, this will be the final season of the podcast, the whole shebang. But hey, don't hold me to that. When I started off on this podcasting project back in episode 1, as I recall, I stated that it'd probably take me about only 50 episodes or so to cover the whole topic of Philadelphia theater history. And here we are, well beyond that number. I believe this is episode 88. Now the finish line is in sight, but we're not there yet. Of course, it may be. There will be one more season after this. I've got some ideas. I might just go back and cover great stories and characters that we missed along the way, and maybe I'll do some dramatic readings of historic texts and theatrical memoirs. But hey, guess what? That extra season is already going on over on the podcast Patreon page. Our supporters and followers there are already enjoying these bonus episodes filled with music and the strangely pleasing nostalgia for bygone theatrical folks in a city which we never knew but still exists in our imagination. There's a new bonus episode of Adventures in Theater History on Patreon every month, and all for what is really just a nominal fee. Please check it out if you'd like to support our ongoing work and get yourself all sorts of extra membership benefits. Check it out at patreon.com/AITH podcast. Isn't that music nice too? Chris sent me about half a dozen of his great little sound licks, and I will be using them again and again as transitions throughout this episode and in many future episodes of Season 4 as well. Although, here's something I want to say right from the start. Season 4 is going to be somewhat different than Seasons 1, 2, and 3. Because they're going to be less intensely researched and scripted narrative episodes with just me talking and splicing in a lot of background music and sound cues and things. Instead, we are going to have a lot of interviews. I mean, a lot more. We're going to talk to people, directors, actors, administrators, designers, musicians, teachers, historians, journalists, anyone who helped to create and shape and embody and report on Philadelphia theater over the past half century. Because we are fortunate right now that so many of these people are still around, are still working, are still thinking about what they have done and what they want to do next. Because if I can do this right, that's going to be the real purpose of Season 4. It is to both research and also document the historical record and tell it in what I hope will be an engaging and informative way. On various occasions over the past 3 years already, we brought you interviews with people such as Penny Reed, Jarrell Henderson, Barry Witham, Mary Robinson, Bernard Havard, and we've gone on audio tours backstage at historic locations like the Walnut Street Theater and the Hedgerow Theater, and I'm going to do more stuff like that for the next year or so. For instance, already, just over the past few weeks, I've been conducting interviews with some of the leading participants of the very earliest nonprofit theaters in the Philly area, including Robert Headley of Villanova Theater and the Philadelphia Theater Company, Gregory Poggi of the Philadelphia Drama Guild, and I'm hoping to talk more in the upcoming months with some people including Blanka Žižka, one of the founders of the Wilma Theater, Pat Adams, the longtime stage manager of the Wilma, Sarah Goranczyk, the emeritus producing artistic director of the Philadelphia Theater Company, and Joe Canuso, the founder of Theater Exile in South Philly. And hey, here's fair warning for all of you listening whom I didn't just mention, all the actors and technicians and administrators at the Arden and the Lantern and People's Light and Fringe Arts Festival. I'm coming for you. I promise. I just haven't gotten there yet. I have also been searching through the archives to find historic sound files and interviews that will bring you the voices and viewpoints of those who are no longer with us. For instance, through the kindness and generosity of Professor Paula Cohen of Drexel University, I have an interview with the other co-founder of the Wilma Theater, Jiří Žižka. I'm also looking for archival recordings about the Freedom Theater in North Philadelphia, the history of Temple University Theater Department, the Pig Iron Theater Company, and many, many others. Which brings me to just one more thing, one worry that is still bothering me. Are you all still with me? Do those names of theater companies and people that I just listed, do they mean anything to you? Telling the story of the modern years of Philadelphia theater often means getting really deep into the weeds and discussing plays and experimental performances that were only seen by perhaps a few thousand people, maybe even just a few dozen. And maybe they took place several decades ago and memories are a little vague right now. Maybe all that's left is just a few newspaper reviews. Maybe you're a Philadelphian yourself, you're a big fan of Philly theater, you've been attending plays and concerts and workshops all your life, you can remember all this stuff, and if so, great. Hey, everything I'm about to do is right up your alley. But I'm more than a little concerned that others of my listeners, and I know you're out there, God bless all you dear people, in such far-flung places as Australia, Germany, England, Thailand, Canada, and even in slightly more nearby cities like Washington, D.C. and New York City, you may just lose a little interest during the course of Season 4. And, fair enough. I imagine that hearing someone describe a theater performance from 50 years ago in a small downtown space in the not largest city in America, it's kind of like listening to a coworker tell the story of their amazingly weird dream from last night. You can tell from the way they are really excited about sharing it with you that it was really vivid and really emotional to them, but it's never going to mean quite the same to you. And you just kind of nod and you're kind of glad when the coffee breaks over and you can get back to your own life. But still, this is the task I've set for myself. For whatever it's worth, I truly hope that you all, even those of you who are students and scholars of theater and Philadelphia history in the unknowable distant future, and are listening to this and taking advantage of these interviews and this documentation will appreciate what I'm setting out to do. If I do it right, it should be a fun ride for everybody. Okay, so that's our intro to season 4. I'll keep it kind of short today, but here's what we're going to do next time. I'm going to go back to material that I've already covered in season 2, the founding, flourishing, and the demise of the Theater of the Living Arts back in the late 1960s, because that was really where this whole narrative starts. I want to revisit it. The TLA was the first real major nonprofit theater company in the Philadelphia area, and it presaged so much that was about to happen, and it inspired and it challenged so many people that we will meet over the course of season 4. In fact, what I plan to do is to take those original 3 episodes from season 2, the ones that we spent on the TLA, and recut, remix, and condense them into one single grand episode. But instead of cutting off the story at the point when Andre Gregory leaves town, I'm going to keep going and tell the part I never got to, ending the whole thing with some brand new and never before released material, a reading of an entire chapter from my upcoming book, Adventures in Theater History, Philadelphia, entitled The Line of Least Existence, The Last Days of the TLA. The book's releasing November 30th, after all, and it can be ordered online or found at a bookstore near you. It's going to be a very exciting project and a great way to launch both the book and the new season of the podcast. It should show up on your podcast feeds in just a couple of weeks. All right, let me end with this. It's been quite a year here in America, and Philadelphia and Pennsylvania have been in the news quite a lot lately. Have you noticed? Sometimes for reasons that I'm proud of, but sometimes for reasons that I don't really care to think much about at all right now. I'm here, though, as much as I can to lift my spirits and your spirits and delight you and intrigue your curiosity and bring you even more of what I think is a really important and consequential story. Because if Philadelphia is the place where, as we like to remind everyone over and over again, where the nation was founded, if it is to remain a vital and wonderful place to live, if we are to remain the best version of ourselves, a vibrant city, full of wonderful and complex and often maddening human beings, a place where that original grand experiment is to continue, well, then we need to tell the whole story of the place and of the community of artists and audiences that are brought together every day in theaters and rehearsal rooms and performance spaces here, just like they are all over the world. And we will, and we shall. It's something worth doing. Thank you for coming along with me as we begin yet another exciting series of adventures in theater history, Philadelphia.